In the course of life, people are inevitably bound to be afflicted with various forms of inner pain, with one of the most primary culprits being that of anxiety. Where, with anxiety, it is inevitably bound to wreak many prolonged forms of ramifications, ranging from getting someone to develop the general habit to avoid someone, in a sense where someone would feel thwarted with an overwhelming sense of fear and or tension, thus consequentially getting them to withdraw from social situations. Then, there is taking into account how anxiety can be the catalyst for negativity, being more specifically in how, when nestled into a state of anxiety, it wounds up getting someone to experience negative thoughts, whether it's about a situation with their friends and, to a further extent, themselves, which as a symptom of that negativity could come at the expense of severely dissipating one's self-esteem, and furthermore can get someone to be induced with anger to the degree or it could devolve them into a bully. Finally, there is also putting into play how anxiety is subject to enact panic attacks, more specifically in how it can lead someone to be corrupted with stress in a way where they would foresee various forms of noticeable and intrinsic distress going on for a lingering period of time. When accounting for these aforementioned negative implications that surround anxiety, they ultimately render it as an unflinchingly impenetrable force. Well, impenetrable for a certain while. Because there happens to be a new medicine in town, being in that of Lexapro. Being in that of a medicine that is encoded with the capability in eradicating one's stress in a meaningful way. Furthermore, with Lexapro, it has presented itself time and time again in effectively treating one's depression and anxiety. On top of that, Lexapro has shown to excel most primarily in treating two forms of neurotransmitters, with those two neurotransmitters being that of serotonin and GABA. First, with serotonin, it getting positively impacted by Lexapro would reside in how, amid taking Lexapro, it winds up helping to increase the levels of serotonin in one's brain, thus as a result, reducing one's anxiety and, in tandem to that, enhancing one's mood. And to elaborate on how Lexapro can help to enhance one's mood, it would be in a sense in how it can lead someone to be more assertive, more altruistic, more friendly, more trustworthy, to being more cheerful, to being more dutiful, and so much more. With these aforementioned facts, I unveiled of Lexapro benefiting the body, they ultimately help to greatly insinuate the sheer volume of greatness that is endemic in the medicine. On top of the serotonin, I would also like to direct attention to the other neurotransmitter in the room. I said other neurotransmitter in the room. Oops! Ha 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 ha. My apologies. Well, with GABA, its proximate connection with Lexapro would be in how Lexapro would increase the levels of GABA in the same vein as serotonin, which, as a result, unsubstantiates the tangibility of the mind being affiliated with any form of anxiety, pressure, and fear. And with one's fear, anxiety, and pressure all being seamlessly rectified, it all helps to ultimately amalgamate to one foreseeing an uptick in energy, to possessing a higher stream of confidence, all the way to being entrenched with bravery. And when taking into account the aforementioned benefits Lexapro helps to churn out for GABA and also serotonin, it winds up solidifying Lexapro's status as the key source in mangling one's anxiety. So, in times when you are brimmed with an intrusive feeling of distress, scorn, and frustration, go to the closest and most professional doctor nearby and confide to him/her your inner stress, and soon he/she will provide you advice regarding how you should combat your anxiety, which will soon culminate in the prescription of the Lexapro medicine. And in the wake of taking the Lexapro medicine will ideally help to alleviate one's anxiety. So, by the time they will meet up with their doctor again in the next few months, they will be in a much more refurbished state, fully decomatized from all the stress that once pervaded their body. On top of that, it's also worth unraveling these graphs, being primarily account of the fact and how each of these graphs, in their own unique way, are greatly indicative of the reverence that Lexapro has in changing one's behavior in a meaningful way. Ultimately, the aforementioned graphs, alongside the previous benefits I levied, should suffice in firmly assuring Lexapro as the core medicine to take in ensuring the demise of your anxiety. However, though, there is an asterisk in all this. That being more specifically in how, despite the mountain of benefits that flourish the Lexapro medicine, they at the same time, however, do not negate its fair share of setbacks. Being more specifically in how Lexapro can be the springboard for such side effects such as receiving a headache, to an obtrusive feeling of tiredness that can wound up hindering your current activities, to feeling nauseous, to gaining a dry mouth, all the way to suffering the affliction of feeling nervous, which as a result can lead to breakdowns. And ultimately, when taking into account the multitude of side effects that's instigated by Lexapro, it winds up acting as a dark reminder in how it is integral to and any time you are on the verge of taking Lexapro to really think through whether it's necessary to take the medicine, and furthermore, how much of it should be taken. If these previously mentioned points aren't adequate enough and really alarming your mortal bodies of the potential severity that surrounds taking Lexapro, then this example that I am on the cusp of unraveling should hopefully do the job. With that example I am alluding to being, well, after Anika foresaw the permeating stream of ramifications that came as a detriment to her anxiety, the best way for her to feasibly remedy this predicament would be to meet up with a professional doctor nearby. And in the wake of Anika confiding to her doctor the transgression she has undergone with anxiety, the doctor wind up really gauging at the severity Anika foresaw with tact and grace, which soon amounted in her prescribing Lexapro, which Anika wound up taking. Unfortunately though, the Lexapro's attempts in tangibly eradicating Anika's anxiety winded up being futile.
Hi. Hello, Anika, come on in. I don't think this is working for me. You need to take it back. I can't control what I've been doing. I think that I can't control my actions anymore. I feel like I'm being more like hurtful, and I feel like I'm being more forceful. I think I'm being more aggressive. I don't know what to do.
Well, of course, medication doesn't always work for people, so it's totally okay that this is not working for you. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take you off this medication for now. And what I think I'll have you do is go on without it for about a month, and we'll see how you are. And then after that, I'll see if there's any other medication I think that could help you, and we'll prescribe you for that.
So ultimately, with this example in mind, it would ultimately shed light to the fact and how Lexapro is a medicine that could be poised to negatively affect one's body when not taken in the right way. But frankly, even in spite of the negative effects I just mentioned, they at the same time, however, do not detract from what is still an all-around immensely effective medicine to be prescribed with when treating your anxiety. And in the end of the day, that is what the main conceit of the Lexapro medicine is, being that of its innate capability to meaningfully eradicate one's anxiety. So, if you want to receive your very own pack of Lexapro medicine, then dial the number 12345678910 and expect your request to be immediately taken. Bottom line, when in need to dismantle your anxiety and moreover be nestled into a satisfactory state of leisure, then take the Lexapro medicine today, albeit in a rather cautious manner.